For some time now, a question has been quietly emerging, one many people are afraid to ask openly. What is truly behind the collapse of faith? The most immediate answer may also be the most misleading one, because those who helped create the problem are now charged with writing the solution. And while this is happening, the Pope is privately discussing the possible convocation of a Third Vatican Council with a non-Catholic church without telling his own faithful. By the end of this video, you'll understand why these two news stories tell the same story and why that story concerns all of us. Let's get down to business. On May 21st, 2026, Gloria.tv reported a story published the previous day by the Spanish website elconfidencialdigital.com. Cardinal Victor Manuel Fernández, prefect of the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, is preparing a new Vatican document. The topic: why faith is no longer passed down from generation to generation. The document will address the causes of the decline in religious practice, the importance of the liturgy, and what the text calls the question of enculturation, so present in John Paul II. It is being prepared in consultation with episcopal conferences around the world. It hasn't been published yet, but its direction is already clear. He is the same author of Fiducia Supplicans, the document that, on December 18, 2023, authorized blessings for couples in situations contrary to natural moral law. Fiducia Supplicans has provoked one of the most profound crises of doctrinal reception in recent decades. Episcopal conferences across Africa have publicly opposed it, calling the document inapplicable in their territories. Bishops, theologians, and faithful from every continent signed petitions and declarations of dissent, an unprecedented opposition in the recent history of the Church. And Leo XIV chose to keep Fernández in office. And it doesn't end there. On the same May 18th that Leo XIV met with the Armenian Catholicos, Cardinal Mario Grech, Secretary General of the Synod, was in the Vatican for a separate meeting with the Pope. The outcome was communicated 3 days later by the Secretariat of the Synod, an 18-page document that pushes for the integration of the final reports of the study groups, including the controversial Study Group 9, the one with testimonies from same-sex couples. May 18th was a very crowded day. How can the author of Fiducia Supplicans diagnose the collapse of faith? It's like asking someone who opened the windows in the dead of winter to explain why the house is cold. Yet this happens with the seal of the doctrinal authority of the Holy See. This point changes everything else, because the problem isn't just who writes the document, it's what that document will say. Fernández will identify the problem in insufficient enculturation, in faulty communication, in pastoral care that does not reach young people, not in the doctrinal ambiguity that he himself introduced. Imagine the faithful who will read that document. They will read that the faith is no longer transmitted, that the causes are a lack of dialogue, inadequate pastoral care, and cultural disconnect. You'll never read, in a document signed by Fernández, that one of the factors in the collapse of trust in the hierarchy was precisely Fiducia Supplicans. The document diagnosing the problem bears the signature of those who contributed to the problem. And there's one fact that makes everything even more significant. This document will be distributed to all the episcopal conferences worldwide. It will be used as the basis for pastoral programs, for clergy training, and for catechesis in dioceses across every continent. The diagnostic error, if any, won't remain in a Roman office drawer. It will multiply. But there's something the headlines haven't told, something that happened on May 18th, 2026, 3 days ago. and which the Vatican chose not to share with its community of believers. On that day, Leo XIV met privately with His Holiness Aram I, Catholicos of the Armenian Apostolic Church of the Sea of Cilicia, Lebanon. The Armenian Apostolic Church is not in full communion with Rome. It is one of the ancient Eastern churches that separated from the council path in the 5th century. The meeting was private, but its words were made public by the Armenian side. The Vatican has published its official statement on the meeting. The text speaks of Lebanon, peace in the Middle East, and Christian unity. It's beautiful. But according to the official statement of the Armenian Apostolic Church, reported by Gloria.tv on May 19th, the two discuss something that the Vatican statement does not mention: the convocation of a Third Vatican Council. The Armenian statement adds that Leo XIV expressed understanding and support regarding the issues raised. The same meeting, two radically different versions. The question becomes inevitable. What did Leo XIV promise to a representative of a church not in communion with Rome? And why did he choose not to tell us? We're not talking about a minor detail. A Third Vatican Council is the proposal many progressives are awaiting as the moment to reconsider doctrine on morality, female ordination, and ecumenism. Councils are the most solemn moments in the life of the Church. The First Vatican Council in 1869 defined papal infallibility. The Second Vatican Council between 1962 and 1965 ushered in the changes that traditionalists identify as the origin of the liturgical and doctrinal crisis. And this is the contradiction that no one dares to openly name. It's not a communication error. It's a choice to tell Catholics what you decide they should know and keep quiet about everything else. So let's look at the full picture. On the one hand, the author of Fiducia Supplicans writes a diagnosis of the collapse of faith, and that diagnosis will never include Fiducia Supplicans among the causes. On the other hand, the Pope privately discusses the convocation of a Third Vatican Council with those not in communion with Rome, and the Vatican statement is silent. And here comes the uncomfortable question. Do these two pieces of news tell us that the Church is adrift without direction? Or do they tell us that there is direction, but it is not being communicated to the faithful? Both answers are disturbing. Unplanned chaos is one thing, but planning that bypasses the faithful is something entirely different. And the answer to this question changes everything we think we understand about the Church today. But the Church is indefectible in its essence, even when its pastors navigate the mists of ambiguity. The faithful know where the truth lies, in the faith transmitted by the Fathers, in the words of Christ, in the blood of the martyrs. No document from Fernández can erase it. No secretly announced council can remove it. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment, Amen. God bless you.